What's up guys, it's Lord Both here for another video, and Mafia The Old Country's trailer released. Now if you don't know, I'm actually a pretty big Mafia fan. I've played and finished all three games, thoroughly enjoyed most of all of them, Mafia 2 being my favorite, but I will say that the series always seemed like it was a bit just on the edge of being something great, being something that everybody recognizes and is a must-have game, a franchise among franchises. Iconic things like GTA, Assassin's Creed, Doom, and etc. All things that had games that have come out this year. And I'm interested if it can make that final leap in its fourth installment to something revolutionary and franchise-defining. So we're going to take a look at the trailer here. And I have not actually seen this. This is a live reaction. I have seen some of the social media reaction, and I like some of the things I heard, so let's take a look.
Come in.
Bravery is not common in this world, and so loyalty, honor,
Looks good.
obedience, they set the man apart from the rest. You took care of Messina, but this matter is not yet resolved. Will you help me bring it to a close?
It has slight Red Dead vibes, I
Of
won't lie.
course. Tanto easy.
You know what actually it felt like? Looking at all that, it felt like Red Dead 2 to be precise, mixed with Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, but that's just because it takes place within that side of 1950, right? In Old Italy. Stealth action. Okay. Oh, drive. Oh. There's racing in the game again. Just like the first game, the race missions. Oh. Oh. All right.
You again.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I quite like that. Now to mention the obvious here, pretty big positive ratio on this trailer. And again, it's not one of the massive guys like a GTA or something. So you got 29,000 upvotes to less than 500 downvotes, 334. That's pretty good. So a couple things off the bat. It looks beautiful. Very good animation, very good graphics. And while you didn't get a whole ton of story information there, they did show off a lot of elements of the game. Horseback riding, that's going to be in there. Looks like they're going to have a very dynamic combat system, which is kind of a staple of Mafia. They've always had fairly dynamic gunplay, which I've always really liked. The combat system in Mafia has always been good, from my opinion. It looks like they also brought back racing in the game, some kind of racing mission, which if you played the first Mafia game, you know, the racing mission was not the easiest thing. And the driving mechanics in the second and third game definitely got better. But something tells me they're going to be a little bit more janky and hard to control again, just because it's supposed to be older cars from the deeper past. The set pieces look really nice, and it looks like this game is going to be pretty set piece heavy, because it's already been confirmed through multiple sources of media. This game is not going to be an open world game. For those of you who did not play any Mafia games, Mafia 2 and 3 were open world. I think the open world environment of Mafia 2 probably is its weakest elements, or definitely one of the weaker parts of it. It's an open world in Empire Bay City, which is obviously taken from New York, but there's just not a whole lot to do in it. Now they fixed that in Mafia 3, but the problems with Mafia 3 were actually story problems, in the way that the story was fairly good and compelling for about the first quarter or third of the game, and then it just completely nosedive. And it's a little difficult to believe, even in the 1960s, that the Mafia would just be cool with letting Lincoln, a mixed black man, and if you chose this path to walk down, his fellow underbosses, a failed ex-Italian Mafia rising star, who was the star of the second game that we play, an Irish lesbian, and a black woman just run the criminal scene for the Italian mob down there. Especially considering the fact that Mafia has always been a franchise that prided themselves on very traditional with the time period views of races and sexes. But it did feel that those games were trying a little too hard to be more like GTA, with open worlds and a lot to do and very, very light RPG elements. About Mafia 3 was you could get different outfits for Lincoln and you could wear them, you could go through the whole game doing them, but in the cutscenes he'd just wear his normal clothes that were the standard for the game. And it's like, well, what's the point then? But it does feel like they're going, should I say, back to basics? They're going back to the old formula of the original Mafia game that was more set pieces and action and a linear storyline that was actually very compelling and very good. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this one. And it comes out August 8th, which is really good for it because that's the period when game releases are going to start to dwindle down. Because like you have Doom the Dark Ages, then this, and then I don't know what's next. The next Call of Duty, whatever that is, that hasn't even been announced yet. Marathon, because yeah, sure, people will buy Marathon. So at least that's some good news for it. It's releasing in a bit of a vacuum. The other great piece of news is apparently it's only going to be $50. That's right. This game that looks very high AAA end is going to be only $50. This also comes off the back of the remaster of Oblivion, which was only $50 and free on Game Pass, and it was more of a remake than a remaster, and Clair Obscur Expedition 33, which is probably hands down Game of the Year now, especially since GTA 6 moved to May of next year, and that was only $50. Now Mafia is only going to be $50, and it looks like, as you can read from this article here, EA bucks industry trend and says it has no plans to increase video game prices. That comes to us from IGN, but it's being reported by pretty much everyone everywhere. Which has led me to ask a bit of a conspiratorial question of, did console companies just gaslight developers into selling their games at lower prices? Because that's some wild 4D chess move that I was not expecting. Though it's probably not true. They were probably just trying to cash grab as hard as they can, and the developers, even though the publishers, the console companies, they don't see it, but the developers know, hey, we can't continue asking people for higher and higher prices. In fact, if we lower prices, we'll look like good guys, and more people will want to buy our stuff. And we can still be profitable if we sell our game for this price. Basically, we can't fleece our customers anymore for the extra pennies that we were getting. So sell it for a lower price. And that seems to be what they're doing, and they're going to be more successful for it. People are going to be way more likely to buy their games, and it will be a good thing for the industry overall. And the guys that are going to come out looking really bad in this scenario is Nintendo. Because Nintendo's pretty much put a hard line of $80 on their games. I know there's been some statements where they say, oh, some of our games will be this price, some of our games will be that price. But let's be real. The standard price for most games on there looks like it's going to be about $80. But yeah, I think Mafia being $50 and all these games being $50 is good for the overall health of the industry. It incentivizes customers to actually get out and buy their games, even if they play them for free on Game Pass. I'd say they're more likely to actually go out and buy the game after they play it on Game Pass or while they're playing it on Game Pass so they don't lose it if it goes away for whatever reason, if it is at that lower $50 price point. And to be honest, this many companies, this many developers doing this and doing very well doing this, it's embarrassing a lot of the industry. and making a lot of the industry look really, really bad. A lot of developers who aren't doing this look really bad. And if they were smart, they'd get the picture and start doing it too. But yeah, super excited for Mafia The Old Country. Looks really good. Definitely will get it. I find the price point thing very interesting. And those are just my thoughts on all this. If you have your own thoughts, go ahead and leave them in the comments. If you like this video, go and like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, I appreciate you watching all of it. And we'll talk to you again later.